Round 2 of the Vic State Circuit Racing Series takes us to Winton Motor Raceway, a technical country circuit about 2 hours northeast of Melbourne. Mark Verdino here, and this is my weekend review of the Sidelink Transport Car 44. After exceeding my expectations at Sandown and coming to a track which I knew well from multiple track days in road cars, I was confident I'd be able to take a step further up the order. After slowly building the pace up over Friday practice, I was able to put the car on the third row and qualify 6th. I was stoked with the result and went into race 1 full of confidence that I could hang on to the back of the second lead pack. Unfortunately, things didn't quite turn out the way I'd hoped. After a decent start, I managed to maintain my position through turns 1 and 2. Dickie Howe in the white number 8 was coming up hard behind into turn 3, so I needed to defend the inside line. Unfortunately, I was so focused on defending that I lost the rear end into turn 3. A quick reacting Dickie Howe took evasive action which prevented a certain collision. I recovered the car after losing 1 position and came back on the track side by side with AJ Jackman. I had the inside line heading into the sweeper at turn 4 and was expecting AJ to yield the turn, but he held it around the outside and squeezed me tight, leaving just enough room. Unfortunately, with dirty tyres, I understeered into his left rear wheel and turned him around.
A good coating, very low ride height in the back of the...
It seems that the racing gods have a way of evening everything out though, as halfway around lap 2 I ran into mechanical issues.
On the run up to the last corner there, that's the number 44 there of Mark Verdino.
The alternator casing had snapped, which caused the alternator to fall and short out. Within seconds, the fire crew were on the scene, and even though no fire broke out, it was a stark reminder of how quickly things can turn dangerous in motorsport.
Off the Sidelink number 44, as we see the recovery crew, the Winton Motor Raceway recovery crew.
After a disappointing race 1, I was looking to make amends in race 2, but immediately made my second rookie mistake of the weekend by crossing the pit lane blend line. This would cause me some grief later on. After a reasonable start, I went through turns 1 and 2 in 4th gear, like I normally would at full race speed, not realising I was not carrying anywhere near enough speed to use that gear. This bogged the car down and I was swamped heading into turn 3. By the time I realised I was in the wrong gear, I was heading into turn 4 and at the back of the pack. I quickly jumped onto the back of Vlad Kennedy, heading into the sweeper and was planning a move into turn 7. I made a half-hearted move, not knowing if Vlad would see me. He didn't, and closed the door, which caused me to spin.
Cars a spinner. There it is. Mark Verdino goes around in the Sidelink car. Beautiful livery. And there he goes, Verdino and Co. Sidelink Pro LED.
In hindsight, I should have been more patient, knowing that I would have cleared the traffic without too much hassle and had a better chance of climbing back up the order. Instead, I lost a couple of laps chasing down the back of the pack. lap 3, I was on the back of a slow-moving pack led by Vlad, followed by Dickie Howe, who were both having mechanical issues.
Kennedy, he's now slowing dramatically. Pulls over to the driver's left of the track. Richard Howe with the MPC logo emblazoned on his rear guard there. So MPC, quite a famous car preparation company.
After clearing that pack, the safety car was deployed while they recovered Vlad's car. The timing couldn't have been better, as it closed the field right up and put me in the back of Andy Tudor in 11th. I still had a chance to salvage a top 10 finish. The safety car restart was pretty uneventful, and I didn't get a chance to make a move on Andy until the next lap heading into turn 3. Mariner was next, and he left me plenty of room to make my move into turn 7 and move into the top 10. By the start of the penultimate lap, I was right on the back of Carter Fox in 9th. I immediately realised that he was going to defend hard, and Winton is a tricky track to pass on if the car in front is taking defensive lines. I knew I had a lot more pace, so my strategy was to pile on the pressure and hope that I could force a mistake. After getting the job done on Carter on the last lap, I was reasonably satisfied with the 9th place finish, considering how the race had started. Little did I know that a time penalty for the blendline infringement on the outlap was going to pull me back to 12th. Another silly mistake which undid all the hard work of race 2. Race 3, I went back to basics, with my goal being keep everything tidy and not make any costly errors. Had a reasonable start passing Andy Tudor into turn 1 and Josh Brisbane heading up to turn 3 before getting by Keith Mariner into turn 7. By lap 2, I was on the back of Carter Fox, who was still making his yellow machine as wide as a bus. I was mindful that the defensive driving was slowing us both up and pushing me back into the clutches of Josh Brisbane, who was coming up fast behind. I had to clear Carter quickly. I was much faster through the sweeper, so my plan was to prop myself on Carter's bumper through that complex, and if I got a good run, I'd make a move into turn 7.
Certainly offering up advice to the field. There's Carter Fox, car number 7, with Mark Verdino going through as well. Josh.
The plan worked, and I got the move done on Carter before himself and Josh had a tangle behind me. This relieved a bit of pressure, and I could focus on putting in some solid laps to catch AJ, who was a few seconds up the road. A couple of laps later, I was back with the familiar view of the blue Poolmaster car's rear bumper. AJ's a hard racer, with plenty of experience, so even though I had a lot more pace, I knew it was going to be difficult to get around him. My strategy was to stick to his bumper and look for a move into turn 7, or to try and force a mistake.
Richard Howe, just off the back of this battle here. This is for position 8, 7, 8 and 9 on the road. That's Andy Jackman with Mark Verdino and Richard Howe. Good drive there from Mark Verdino. Started out of 12. Currently in 8, so up some good spots there in this one. It's good to see some progress there. Jackman in the number 20 actually started out of 7th in this race and holding on to 7th. And there's the charging Richard Howe, the veteran of Porsche 944 racing, numerous categories over the years. Had a great time for many years in Oz cars on the Thunderdome. And Richard Howe just losing the back of Mark Verdino in the last couple of corners. We are on lap 6, so half race distance.
Coming out of turn 10, I was given a gift when AJ missed a shift which allowed me to swing around him and into 7th position.
The last corner for the number 44 there. Sorry, that turn 10 up into 11 and 12 now. So Mark Verdino, is a massive move there on Jackman. So swaps it over that position as they head to the line to complete lap number 7.
I had no chance of catching Michael Westerway in 6th, who was 10 seconds up the road, so I settled into 7th and was happy to cruise to the checkered flag.
A little bit of a timing glitch at the start of this race has just thrown a little bit of confusion around the completed laps in this race. So the 44 now.
On the 8th lap, Anthony Westerway had a mechanical failure, which gifted me a free position and moved me up to 6th, finishing the weekend where I'd started. Reflecting on the weekend now, I'm disappointed in the amount of avoidable errors I made as a driver. However, being honest with yourself and learning from your mistakes is vital when developing any sort of new skill. In races 1 and 2, I just wasn't good enough, but by staying calm and learning from my previous errors, I was able to salvage my best race result to date and finish the round on a high. This was important for my own confidence, knowing that I do have the pace, and if I can just have a tidy weekend, I should be able to scrap with the boys at the pointy end of the field. I'd like to thank our sponsors Sidelink Transport, ProLED Signage, Verdino & Co, Calcane Constructions, Sync Digital, Timber Stair Group and Bonza Tiling for their support. I'd also like to thank my crew, Cam and Andy Bella, for working late into the day to get the car repaired for race 2 and keeping me in the weekend. The next round is at the world famous Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Looking forward to bringing you along for the ride.